Superman's my favorite hero of all time, and I love everything that is connected around Superman and revolves around Superman. I love his family, I love his wife, I love his friends, I love his teammates, I love his colleagues, I love his villains, I love his house, I love his former house, I love his former home planet, and I even love his pet animals. And one of his pet animals that I really love is Krypto the Super Dog. And when I was a little kid, right, there was this TV show called Krypto the Super Dog on Cartoon Network. It wasn't really that good when I rewatched it, but as a kid, I really liked the concept of Superman's pet dog being a superhero as well, and he had this cool red cape, and he was actually friends with Ace the Bat Hound, Batman's own pet dog. But honestly, when I was rewatching some of the episodes for the Krypto the Super Dog animated TV show, I turned off the TV so fast that the Flash could not even see it because that show was so mundane. But thank God in the big year of 2025, Krypto the Super Dog is getting a lot of love from DC. Even though in 2022, a Super Pets movie that starred Krypto was released and that movie was decent, I'm not particularly talking about that. I'm talking about Superman 2025, and that movie was peak. I already talked about it, but I really loved Krypto's characterization, and people were actually annoyed and they were so mad about Krypto being such an unruly pet and such an unruly dog. But them niggas need to understand that Krypto in the comics is actually an unruly dog in the comics, man, because when you look in the comics and you see Krypto, you know this nigga is a bad dog, even though he's a great dog. And DC just released an animated short titled Krypto Saves the Day that is tied into the DCU, and it's actually following the events of Superman, or it's taking place before the events of Superman. And this entire short highlights how bad of a dog Krypto really is, man, because throughout this entire short, Krypto was chasing this bird, and he was chasing this bird throughout Metropolis, throughout the cities, the roads, and Krypto was causing havoc just because he was chasing this bird. An example I can give is when he was chasing this bird and there was this Looney Tunes-esque scene where Krypto was chasing the bird around the Daily Planet's globe, but as he was chasing the bird now escaped momentarily. Krypto now saw this opportunity to use his heat vision to slice the Daily Planet globe in half, and the bird was inside that globe. But I had to bring this up because slicing the Daily Planet's globe in half caused a lot of property damage, and not only that, this globe nearly hit a school bus that had kids on board. So Krypto in this animated short really is reckless, and this is harping back to my main point about this video, and that is Krypto in the comics is very reckless. Because an example I can give is in Superman issue 168, Krypto just got brought into Lois Lane's apartment because Clark at the same time is inside that apartment as well, and Lois is having a hard time trying to maintain this dog because Krypto was destroying every single furniture inside this apartment. He destroyed the oven, he was destroying the kitchen, he destroyed her washing machine, and Krypto was such an unruly mutt that Lois had a hard time trying to maintain this dog. So I really like that the DCU is characterizing Krypto as kind of an unstable dog, even though he's a very loving dog and he is a very lovable dog as well. Krypto is really reckless, man. And another example I can give is after the Daily Planet's globe got sliced in half and the school bus was just trying to escape from being crushed by that globe, the bus was now put in jeopardy again from Krypto because Krypto, he was flying and chasing this bird, and he now uses heat vision to slice a worker that was trying to paint the wall of a building, and this worker nearly died too. Krypto didn't stop to save this worker, and the paint that this worker was using now splashed onto the windshield of the school bus, so this could have killed the kids again. And this now culminated onto this bridge because when the bird was flying and the bird was trying to get away from Krypto, Krypto. This now led to both the bird and Krypto causing an almost catastrophic event, because somehow, some way, the lever on the bridge now turned on and now caused the bridge to open up. But the school bus was on the bridge as this was happening simultaneously, and the school bus nearly fell into the water. But Krypto saved the school bus at first. But then Krypto, man, you know he's a dog. He had an itch in his ear, so Krypto had to itch himself. But as he was doing this, the bus almost fell into the water again. So Krypto eventually had to save the school bus, man. And when Krypto brought the school bus back to the school, it's almost as if Krypto was just saving them, because he put them in harm's way. He put them in jeopardy, and we didn't even see Krypto saving that dude that was working, man. But the way that I'm talking about this, you're probably thinking to yourself that, wow, Big Bro really does not like Krypto. He is highlighting a lot of negative aspects about Krypto's character. No, I really like that they made Krypto like this, because in the comics, even though he's a lovable dog, like I stated earlier, Krypto is very reckless, and Krypto is prone to being a dangerous dog. Because when we see Mongol, right, and Mongol was wreaking havoc, he was trying to look for Superman, but at the same time Lois Lane was there, and Krypto was not having it. Krypto, he actually turned into a bad dog. Even in this panel, it said Krypto was a good dog who did a bad thing, because Krypto nearly killed Mongol by impaling into his throat, and this nearly actually killed Mongol Jr. And after this, Superman, he had enough. He had to send Krypto to the Fortress of Solitude for years. Krypto was in the fortress for years, man, because Krypto, he did a bad thing, and Superman even knew that Krypto was a good dog, but he just needs to stay in the fortress so that Krypto can control his own emotions, man. So remember, Krypto, he is a reckless dog, man. Like, he has been a reckless dog in post-crisis for a long time. Krypto stayed in the fortress until Superman gave Krypto to Superboy, because Clark thought that Superboy needed a friend and he needed someone to comfort him. Krypto's demeanor finally changed, and he became a good dog. And we saw that Krypto in the comics, he eventually helped Superman to defeat Atlas, man, when Superman was getting his ass whooped. So Krypto's redemption arc in the comics really was good, in my honest opinion. So I hope we do see something similar like that in the DCU, man. But damn, this video is kind of long. It's 9 minutes right now, but I had to go over this Krypto the Super Dog animated short, man, because it is inside the DCU, even though it's an animated short, and even though it's very whimsical and it's not really as realistic as the Superman movie is, and that movie was not really realistic, and thank God that movie was not realistic. I'm tired of realism being in my superhero stories and my superhero movies, but this animated short was pretty funny. I had a good laugh. It doesn't have the best animation, but I like the characterization of Krypto in this short, because Krypto is a very good dog, but he does a lot, and I mean a lot of bad things, man. At the end of the video, man, what do you guys think of this animated short? I'm out. Peace.